Guys, this is Cole, and we're here with another Wings of Glory Wednesday. Today we're going to be covering putting on decals. This model is completely painted, ready to go. However, it just still needs that final touch, and today we're going to demonstrate how we put on decals, or at least how I do it. So, anyway, we have the custom painted Newport 28 right here, and it's all set to go, looking really nice, and we're going to end up putting American roundels on it, and then we're going to also add some ace cards just as a personal insignia to kind of make it look cool. So first step that I always do is I always kind of look up how the roundels were placed on these planes. So based on this, you can see that the roundels are put on really near to the edges of the wings. You've got right on the top wing, and then you can also see a little bit the roundels are on the underside of the top wing. Same place that they are on the above part of the top wing, and then they're also on the bottom of the bottom wing and not on the top of the bottom wing. So all in all, you'll have 3 sets of roundels on the wings, 2 here, 2 there, and then 2 there. And interestingly enough, on a lot of the photos that I found, there's no roundel on the fuselage. Instead, that would be either left blank, as you see here, or it would have a personal insignia and sometimes a number. Well, usually always a number for the Americans, but since this is practically a non-historical paint scheme, it's more of a barnstormer sort of thing. I'm not going to assign it a number, and instead I'm just going to put the playing cards on the fuselage there and there, and I think it would look nice to put the insignia on this side of the wing as well. So all in all, that's what we're going to do. So the first thing, one more note, I actually like to do this part with bare hands, just because it allows me to get a little bit better feel for the decals when they're wet instead of losing them in the rubber gloves. Alright, so first step then is we're going to cut out the American decals. And so I think, so just some decals are pre-cut, so you wet them and then they'll come off exactly in the shape. I don't know if these are the same way or if like it's all one sheet and then you have to precisely cut out what you want. I'm going to play it safe and do sort of a general outline around it. So easy does it. Don't want to be too hasty cutting these. And then I'm going to trim this little bit off. Okay, so now I've got that, and just to be safe, in case these are all one sheet and they're not pre-cut, I am gonna do that. Then I'm gonna stick it in the water here and let it start to soak in. And I'm gonna do the same thing with the other decal. Can be a bit tedious, but trust me, it's worth it. Alright, so I have these both soaking right there. In probably 30 seconds or so, they should be pliable where they'll actually start to slide off the backing. And so now I've got 2 things right here. I have a bottle of Micro Sol and a bottle of Micro Set. Now, we're not going to use the Micro Sol right now. We're going to use the Micro Set because that helps it kind of stick to the surface. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncork it here. Going to take my paintbrush and just get it wet in the solution here. It's running a bit low. I need to get some more soon, but it'll do for the purposes we have here. And I'm going to wet the area where I want to apply the decals, so right there, right on the edge of the wing. Alright, then I'm going to actually pick this one up very carefully, and you can see it's kind of moving around a little bit. And I'm just going to take my thumb and slide it off and then work it on with my thumb just carefully. Ooh, this one's old. So these, oh, whoa. So sometimes older decals will crack on you, as you see we have here. So then this is where the brush comes in handy. Just going to easily put it back together. Whoa. Yeah, so you got to be really careful. I probably had these decals in storage for like 2 years. So, very painstaking, very careful. Just going to put it back together. Okay, there we go. And we're going to let that one dry. I'm not going to move that around much. It looks like about where it should be according to the diagram. And now we're going to repeat the process for the other side. So, micro saw. Going to be careful where we hold it. I'm going to hold it by the landing gear. And I'm going to wet this area. Then carefully... I'm even going to use the brush to kind of help. Alright. This is quite dicey. And then... don't want to move too fast. Just going to kind of finagle it out here. I'm actually going to use the brush again to push the backing out that way. Now I've snagged the backing with my fingers, and I'm going to use the brush to slide it out. And I'm going to hold it here, and then the backing is off. Okay, going to get rid of that. And then we want to make sure these look as parallel as possible. So right now this is a bit further to the left and low than the other one is. So use the brush to move it up and to the right slightly. It looks like I moved it too far to the right. Very minute adjustments. I think that looks about right. I am going to move it to the right again, just a bit. Okay, there. I think, yes, I like the way that looks. Alright, so there you have the 2 roundels. And I am going to move that up just a bit. I'm a chronic overcorrector. Just want to make sure it looks as good as possible. There we go. Tiny, tiny adjustments. That's all it takes. Alright, I like that. I like that very much. And, yeah, so now we kind of let that dry. Now, at this point, I'm going to cut out and do the exact same thing with these other decals, including these card decals. And I will come back and show you the next bit once all that first step is done, and then I will show you what I do with this. So I'll be back real soon. Alright, we're back now. We've got all the decals fixed on, and so now we'll move on to step 2. Before I talk about that, just a quick update. So I decided that I wanted playing cards on both sides because that'd look kind of cool, and then I decided to do, let's see if we can get the camera to focus there. Slightly blurry, out of focus. Let me see. There we go. So we got the I got the cards tilted diagonally to almost form diamonds on the fuselage, and got them lined up as accurately as I could on either side of the fuselage. So it has I think it's kind of a cool effect. Anyway, so that's what I ended up doing, and as you can see, we've got the roundels on the undersides of both wings. So now, step 2 is that we are going to do the microsaw. So this is what's going to make the decals look a little more painted on. Basically, it's going to kind of shrink the decals just a bit and make them adhere to the bumps and curves of the surface on which they are affixed. So you want to give the decals just a tiny bit of time to dry before you do this, otherwise it will shrivel your decals. And by a tiny bit, I'd say even a minute. So we're going to start with the one we started with first, the one that had the rip. We're going to be just extra careful with this one. Just going to dab the microsaw on it. And we're going to be very careful not to drag anything with the brush on this one especially. Just going to make a little pool like that. And hopefully it should set just fine without exaggerating the crack. And then I'm going to do this one too. Just dab all around it. You're not going to be using hard brush strokes, you're just dabbing. And again, we're going to do that for the playing cards on top. Just dab. The liquid will dry on its own. Just make sure we've got everything on there. And then on the underside, and I'm going to hold it now by, let's see, I'm going to hold, figuring out where to hold these planes when you have decals all over is kind of tough. I'm going to hold it by the tail section here. And again, we're just going to dab right there, cover the whole area with microsol. And basically that's what I'm going to do for each decal. So there you have it. That is how I do decals on these planes. And I will be back after I'm done with the rest of the microsol to show you the finished product once it's dry. Okay, and here you have it. No worse for the wear. It's everything's dry, and as you can see, it's kind of acquired the bumps and dents of the surface, so it looks a little more painted on, which is awesome, and it's going to help it stick better in the long run. So yeah, that is the final product, and yep, so that's how I do the decals, and this will get shipped off to Rommel on Blitz, who won this in the giveaway, and yeah. Until I see you all again, salute and blue skies. Hey guys, if you liked what you saw, don't forget to subscribe by clicking on the shield in the top left corner. If you really liked what you saw and want to be a part of helping us make better content in the future, check us out on Patreon. Until next time, thanks so much for watching, and blue skies.